What's up, kids? Welcome to another fun-filled day of science class. Today we're going to be talking about the properties of metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So me and Mr. Barber are going to go around the school and we're going to try to find those things. So stay tuned, take a look, and let's do some learning.
Mr. Fernandez, I've got a great idea. What if we warp all over the school and see if we can find metals and nonmetals and metalloids? Does that sound like a good one? Let's go to Warp Zone. Whoa, dude,
Whoa.
where we at, man?
Mr. Barber, how did we end up in here and exactly where are we?
We're in Mrs. Price's class.
Mrs. Price's class?
She's awesome. Up on the third floor, right?
Yeah, up on the third floor, and like I said, you can find elements anywhere, but to better explain that, I'm gonna have to take my mask off so you can fully understand what I'm saying about metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So, Mr. Barber, get on out of here.
What?
All right, now that he's out of here, I can take my mask off. We're looking for elements and we're looking at the characteristics of metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. And I just bet you, I can find every single one of those things in this classroom. I found a desk. Now look at this. It has metal on it. Let's take a look. All right, look what I found here. I found some metal. And the properties of metal, one is it's shiny. Look how it's reflecting light. I can actually see myself in the reflection. We call that luster. Another property of metal is you can see that it's bent. It is very malleable. It is very bendable. And that is a property of metals. Making science great again. Apparently, Miss Price has a lunchbox. And look what she left out. Some aluminum foil. And look at this aluminum foil. Not only does it shine light, it's malleable. I can bend it. Also, an aluminum can. This is also metal. It also can be bent. Look what I found. Some wires. So, another property of metal is that it can be stretched, which they call ductile. They have stretched the metal out to make these wires. Another property of metal is that they are good conductors of heat and electricity. And notice, they've put an insulator, which is a poor conductor of heat and electricity, to protect your hands. Science rocks.
Apparently, Miss Price celebrates birthdays. I found a helium balloon. Helium is a gas, and it's also a nonmetal.
Just breathing in a little oxygen while I work. All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about nonmetals. All right, so it's in the name, it's not a metal. So you have to think the properties are opposite of metal. So nonmetals do not have luster, which means they're dull. They also cannot be bent or anything like that. For example, nonmetals are brittle, it breaks easily.
Making science great again.
Just doing a little work. Wouldn't be possible unless I had some metalloids. Silicone to be exact. Yep, silicone's in this computer. It's also known as a semiconductor because it conducts a little bit of heat and it conducts a little bit of electricity, not too much, else it'll blow up my computer. Even my phone has silicone in it. Microchips, everything. Pretty awesome. All right, so you saw everything in here, and you know what? I'm gonna let Mr. Barber back into the classroom. Come back in. All right, in conclusion, we learned that metals have luster, which means it reflects light, very shiny. We also learned that metals are malleable, which means that you can bend them. Metals also are ductile, which means you can stretch it out, like this copper. The other important thing about metals are they're good conductors of heat and electricity. For nonmetals, I have red phosphorus, represented by capital letter P on the periodic table. All right, and this nonmetal red phosphorus, it is the opposite of metal. As you can see, it has no luster, it is not reflecting light, and when it has no luster, we say it's dull. It breaks apart very easily, and we call that brittle. As you can see, it's just breaking apart very, very easily. The other thing about nonmetals is that they are poor conductors of heat and electricity, and they're also very good insulators. And last but not least, I have geranium, represented on the periodic table as capital G, lowercase e. This is a metalloid, so it shares properties of both metals and nonmetals. Another term that you can use for metalloids is it's a semiconductor. And the way, I think an easy way to remember that is that it conducts heat half of the time. Sometimes it conducts electricity, sometimes, half of the time, hence the word semi, a semiconductor.
Well, it looks like Mr. Fernandez has got metals, nonmetals, and metalloids all squared away. He's got metals here for sure, and that definitely looks like some sort of nonmetal. Don't really know which that is, but definitely nonmetal. It's not shiny at all. And ooh, that's a metalloid. So I guess he's got it all covered. I don't have to do anything. Thanks, Mr. Fernandez. Remember, kids, stay smart, stay strong, and be science good.
Science is totally cool.